Since 2012, I've been going on a raw and juice fast with my husband for 30 days, twice a year. So I want to tell you in this video the things that you need if you're thinking about doing a long-term fast. So first, jars and bottles, right? So I save these from spaghetti sauces and things that I've purchased before, and I use them to put my dressings in and my jars in a salad and my juices and my smoothies. So it's good to save up jars and bottles because you're going to need those to store all kinds of things, and use all sizes here. Another thing you're really going to need that you might not think about is refrigerator space. You need space in your refrigerator. Now, full disclosure, because I do food content, I actually have 2 refrigerators. But this is the refrigerator that I'm sharing with my son, who is not juicing. And all I'm taking out of this refrigerator is the drawer to hold all my nuts and seeds, because I keep those in the refrigerator so they do not go rancid. Because if you leave them sitting out in the counter, they will go rancid. Another thing you need is storage containers. So here what I'm doing is I'm prepping my nuts, my walnuts and my almonds, to make cream and walnut meat. And I need storage containers to seal them up and put them in the fridge. I soak them in water, seal them up, put them in the fridge. So you need lots of storage clips. Storage containers. You also need clips to close bags of things because they don't come in nice containers with closures. You need a good cold press juicer that makes nice dry pulp, right? And I usually juice my carrots separate from everything else because I use that later to make meals out of. So I use that carrot tuna or carrot spicy tuna to make things like sushi and salad. And so I definitely like a cold press juicer because of the dry pulp. And I'm going to talk more about this at the end. Here is all the dishes that I make out of my carrot pulp. But I'm going to talk more about juicing at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. So this is just the various ways. You also, have a machine. This cold press juicer makes purees and nut milk. So you want the kind of machine that's going to make you purees and nut milk. Because when you get on this raw and juice fast for a long period of time, like 30 days, you want to start eating more pure. You need a food processor. Now I have one with several attachments. This here I'm making some pesto. But I have one to process down big leafy greens. This attachment has a slicer and also a grater piece. But you also want a hand chopper. Hand choppers are good for those quick jobs. So when you just want to do something small and fast, you need a hand chopper. Here I'm making walnut meat in my hand chopper, which was super easy and fast, and it cleans up easily as well too. So sometimes you don't always want to pull out your big food processor. You want to have a little one. Another thing you need is Veggie Wash. You gotta wash your veggies very, very well. So I use baking soda. I also use white vinegar to wash my veggies, and sometimes I buy Veggie Wash from the supermarket in the produce section, right? I have 2 different kinds that I use. So using Veggie Wash to get pesticides and debris and anything that shouldn't be on your vegetables off is a good thing. You need good knives and you need varied knives. So here I'm using a little knife to cut some broccoli for a broccoli salad. That was yummy. And I'm also using a different knife to cut some cucumbers. So you need different kinds of knives. This one here, I'm using a heavy duty knife because of the skin on a pineapple. Also the skin on butternut squash, things like that are pretty thick. So you need a good heavy duty knife. So don't skimp on the kind of knives that you need. Do not use cheap knives. Like I like to buy good knives and then I keep them for a long time, get them resharpened and all that kind of stuff, because you're manipulating fruits and vegetables and they have all kinds of different skins: gentle skin, thick skin, tough skin, delicate. So you need different knives for all that kinds of things. I use that pineapple to make a pineapple salsa. It was really, really good. I also use my knife to cut, like this is a different knife that I'm using to cut nuts. Sometimes you need to cut your nuts. Now, I didn't have to do this by hand. I could have used my hand chopper for it, but I just felt like cutting them with my hand on this day, and I put them inside of a nice apple dessert. Here I'm cutting tomato, which definitely needs a special knife. You need a tomato knife because the skin on tomato is so soft and sometimes delicate. So I use that on top of my walnut taco, which was really, really yummy. The next thing that you need that people don't think about is seasonings. Like, it's so important to keep seasoning with herbs and spices and things that you would normally use with cooked foods. Don't give that up because you're eating raw foods, because that is what's going to make your food taste so tasty. So make sure you keep your spices still available for this. Now, here what I'm doing is making coconut milk for the next tool that you need, and that is a high-speed blender. So if you want to make your own milks and sauces, you're going to need a high-speed blender. And I have 2 or 3 different kinds. So here I'm just taking some coconut meat, and I'm making a coconut milk with my high-speed blender. And I'm going to take that milk and pour it into jars that we talked about earlier in the video. So it's so important to have these things on hand, because I get to store that milk in my jar in the refrigerator for a few days. Your jar is a perfect little shaker for when you need to remix things. So that's why I use a jar. Here I added my coconut milk to a corn salad. It was really, really delicious. And here I am adding a little carrot juice also to the coconut milk, and I made like a carrot latte out of that, which was really, really good. All raw, delicious. And these are the kind of things that you get to enjoy when you're doing a 30-day raw and juice fast. I use my high-speed blender also to make myself a raw pizza crust, which I made inside of my dehydrator. But first I used like a veggie pulp from my juicing, and onions and yummy garlic and things like that, aromatics, and some bulgur wheat and soaked walnuts. You saw me soaking those walnuts earlier. I used that to make myself a raw pizza crust. Now, raw in a dehydrator, anything that doesn't reach above 118 degrees is considered raw. So that's the reason why we use a dehydrator, to give us all kinds of texture, the pull, the bite of cooked foods. But as long as it doesn't reach above 118 degrees, it's still considered raw and live food. So you can make a nice, yummy vegan bread, vegan pizza crust, which I'm making here. You can make vegan crackers, all from things like flax seeds, nuts, bulgur wheat, And see this sheet that I have that I'm spreading it on is called Teflon sheet. It's called a Teflon sheet. You have to order these separately from your dehydrator, because the dehydrator comes with mesh sheets, but the Tex-Flex you need so that you're not spilling your batter-like things into the dehydrator. So definitely get a Teflon sheet. And I'll put that in the description where you can get those. And actually, I'll put everything that I'm talking about here in the description, so don't worry about that. I have a pretty big dehydrator, like it's huge. It's bigger than my toaster ovens, and it takes up it's like 9 trays. It takes up a lot of space there. And I do all kinds of things in my dehydrator, like I make mushroom steaks. This mushrooms here, portobello, I'm used to put on my pizza. I make kale chips. If you feel like you want me to do some videos on how to dehydrate things and how to make raw food in the dehydrator, just put that in the comments. If I see that you're interested in that, then I, of course, will make some videos about that. I've had my dehydrator for about 12 years. And I pull it out. I can't keep it out in my kitchen all the time. I just really pull it out the 30 days, and I'm going to use it when I'm doing a raw and juice fast. Then I put it away back in my garage until I'm ready to use it again. But it's really beneficial, and it keeps it so that you are not bored when you're raw and juice fasting. Like a dehydrator really helps. And if you can't get this big giant one that I have, you can get a smaller one, but it is really helpful to keep you interested and to give you different textures and a little bit of warm food, kind of like, it just makes it feel like it's kind of cooked, but it's not. And it really does help you to stay into your raw juice fast longer. What I'm making here is fruit leather from bruised fruit. So I have a bunch of bruised fruit that I put inside of my blender, and I'm just spreading it out on my Teflon sheet and into the dehydrator, and it makes a nice little snack, and you're still getting your nutrients from your fruit. The last thing we're going to talk about is graters, like different tools that you can use that are hand tools, like graters. You can have box ones. I have a triangle one here. You can also use a microplane one that I use to grate my frozen ginger. Graters are good because you are manipulating fruits and vegetables. So in order to get the best flavor out of it, sometimes you need to grate it down small, and you just need to be able to manipulate your fruits and vegetables. I also love a garlic press. I don't use jar garlic. I do not use garlic paste. So fresh garlic it is for me, and a press is a very good thing. I said I would talk about a juicer at the end of the video. So here we are. This is my cold press juicer that takes whole fruit, and I love this one. I have a couple cold press juicers, but this one is the one that takes whole fruit, and I like it. I can control when the juice goes into the cup. I can put everything into my canister whole, so I don't have to do a whole bunch of chopping. My other one I have to do more chopping. I can watch the juice as it fills up, so I have an idea of how much I'm putting inside of my container. No surprises there. I love that. See, I'm watching the juice fill up here through the little window, and then I can control what goes inside of my cup at the bottom. And of course, this makes the dry pulp that I really love. And so this one where you can put whole fruit is a very big deal. I also love this citrus juicer. So sometimes the skins on citrus can be a little bitter. So to have a citrus juicer is great because you're just getting the juice. And again, this one here, I can also control when the juice goes into my cup. And I put this in the description, all these tools here, so you'll know where to get all of these things. So I just love having a citrus juicer because I can have fresh juice anytime. Vegetable peeler is also a really nice thing to have. It's a small hand tool. You can get them anywhere. Of course, wash your skin first and then peel it. I'm peeling a mango here, but you can use it to peel all kinds of different fruits and veggies. It just makes it easier, right? Some people use a knife, but I think it's good to use a peeler. Next, I have a citrus squeezer. This is for when I'm trying to get lime juice, lemon juice, oranges into a dressing or into a dish really fast. You have your hand squeezer. Now, this is a mango cutter. And some people just like to grab their mango and eat it and suck on the seed, and I do that too. But sometimes when you want your fruits and veggies to look perfect and to look appealing, a little mango slicer is a nice thing to have. And when you're raw and juice fasting for a long time, like appearance matters, texture matters, size matter. All of these things make you want to stay into your raw and juice fast a little bit longer. So that's why I like to have the extra gadgets. Same thing with the mandolin slicer. That's going to allow you to have your slices nice and uniform. When you get down with your hand close to the mandolin slicer, make sure that you're using the guard because you don't want to slice your fingers because that can definitely happen. I use it to do beets. I use it to do portobello mushrooms, zucchini, all kinds of things when I want a nice uniform slice, and it makes it super easy. It's faster than using a knife. So I definitely recommend, if you do not have a mandolin slicer, get one. Sometimes they even come with a little glove to keep you from cutting your hands. It's a good thing to have. The last few things that I want to talk to you about in terms of gadgets, right? And these are niceties. You don't have to have them, but they make it easier. So a little spiralizer. So if you want to do raw noodles, which I think is a really yummy thing to have, you can make noodles out of zucchini, cucumbers, butternut squash, sweet potatoes. A spiralizer is good. Sometimes you can get a little hand one. You can get one like this. Even food processors have a little attachment for it. But it's nice to make little noodles out of your raw vegetables and add a little nice sauce there, and it's a really yummy meal. The last thing I'm going to talk to you about is a French fry cutter. Now, of course, I do use this to make French fries, but I use it also to make my vegetables nice and uniform when I'm raw and juice fasting. So it's really nice to have like little matchsticks if you're needing carrots or cucumbers or things like that. And Also, if you can take these same matchsticks and just cut them across, and then you have cubes. I used this to make a little cucumber, avocado, and tomato salad. It was really, really yummy. And these are pretty much the tools that I use for a long-term raw and juice fast. What tools do you use? Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Tools you need, don't forget to like and subscribe.